I died when I was 9 years old, and when I came back, nothing was the same. It happened on a Wednesday afternoon. I was skateboarding down our neighborhood hill thinking I was invincible, like always. I didn't see the car until it was too late. I remember the screech of tires, the sound of my board snapping in half, and then silence. They told me later I had no pulse for nearly 3 minutes, that the EMT said he lost me on the way to the hospital. But I wasn't gone. I was somewhere else. It didn't feel like a dream, not like when you wake up and things are fuzzy. This was more real than anything I'd ever known. I was standing in a wide field, the grass glowing with this soft light, like it was alive. And the sky, it wasn't blue, not like we know blue. It was deeper, more endless, like it went through you. At first I thought I was alone. But then I heard his voice.
Ethan, do not be afraid.
I turned around and he was there. Not how I had seen him in church books or on necklaces. No long robes, no glowing crown. But I knew it was him. He had eyes that felt like they had seen everything, not just what I'd done, but what I felt when I did it. Every time I shouted at Mom, every time I slammed the door, every time I felt ashamed. And still, those eyes held nothing but love. I remember saying, "I'm sorry, Jesus. I didn't mean to be so mean to her." And he said,
You were never meant to be perfect, my child, only to love.
I fell to my knees. I didn't know what to say. He reached out his hand and touched my shoulder. It didn't feel like a hand, though. It felt like light, like peace entered every part of my chest that had been tight for years.
I see your mother. Her strength is a gift. Honor her with your heart.
Suddenly, I saw her, my mom, working 2 jobs, smiling, even when her eyes were tired, holding my baby brother in one arm and groceries in the other. And I cried. I cried because I had forgotten how hard she fought for us and how often I pushed her away.
Love is not words. It is sacrifice. And she loves you with everything she has.
Then the scene shifted. I was on a path lined with flowers that glowed softly, and butterflies, thousands of them. And I don't even like bugs, but these weren't normal. They shimmered like pieces of heaven. And then I saw him, Dad. He was standing near a tree that had silver leaves and golden roots. He looked strong, taller than I remembered, and young, like he hadn't been sick. I ran to him yelling, "Dad, Dad, I missed you." He smiled, arms wide open. He didn't speak at first, just held me tight, like he didn't need words. Then he pulled back and looked me in the eyes and said, "I'm proud of you, Ethan." I started sobbing, telling him I wasn't good, that I gave Mom a hard time, that I didn't listen. And he just laughed, not mocking but warm. He said, "You're still learning, son. And I see the good in you, every day."
I do too, Ethan. I see the good I planted in you, and it is still growing.
Jesus stepped beside him then, and I felt this wave of light, not blinding, but so bright that I forgot everything else. Every fear, every doubt, every bad thing I'd ever thought about myself.
Your name in heaven is Eli, for you were meant to lift others up, not tear yourself down.
I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to go back. But he looked at me and said,
There is still purpose in your breath. Still love you must give. Go, and love like I do.
And then I woke up. Hospital lights. Above me, my mom sobbing into my hand. Nurses shouting for doctors. I was back. But I wasn't the same. I couldn't be, because I had seen him and he had seen me. At first, they thought I was just mumbling, saying random things from the medicine, but I knew what I saw. I remembered everything: the field, the light, the voice, Dad's face, Jesus' hand. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't hallucination. It was more real than this bed, this hospital, even this pain. I stayed silent for the first 2 days, not because I was scared, but because I didn't know how to tell anyone. How do you tell your mom you met her dead husband in a place with golden trees, that you saw her crying when no one was looking, that Jesus himself spoke your name? But then it started happening again. Not the whole journey, just flashes. When I closed my eyes, I saw the butterflies again. When the nurse touched my forehead, I heard Dad's voice saying, "You're brave." When my baby brother Isaac visited me, I saw that tree again. One night, I couldn't sleep. The machines were beeping. Mom had finally fallen asleep in the chair beside me, and I whispered, "Jesus, are you still there?"
I never left Ethan, even when you stopped looking.
I froze because I heard it clear as day, not out loud, but in my chest. And I whispered, "But why me? I mess up all the time. I lied to Mom about school. I hit Isaac last week. I told myself I didn't believe in you anymore."
Because you are loved, not for what you do, but because of who you are to me.
That broke me. I started crying again, but not out of sadness. Out of something deeper, like something inside me had been dirty for so long, and now it was clean again. After that, the memories started returning slowly, like puzzle pieces, and I saw something I hadn't noticed the first time. It wasn't just that I met Dad, it was what Dad showed me. He took me by the hand, and we walked past this river that sparkled like liquid diamonds. He pointed at a bridge made of light and said, "That's where I saw you being born. That's where I stood when Jessica held you the first time. I wasn't there in the hospital, son, but I saw it from here." I choked back tears because I remembered Mom saying he couldn't make it to the hospital in time, and how angry I used to feel about that. And now I knew he was there all along. Dad turned to me and asked, "Do you remember the time I told you to always protect your brother?" I nodded, barely holding it together. He said, "You haven't failed him, Ethan. Even when you fall short, you're still his hero."
Every time you choose love over anger, you become a light in the darkness.
Jesus stood near us again, and I noticed something glowing in his hands. It looked like a small stone, but it pulsed like a heart. I asked him, "What is that?"
This is your burden, but I have held it for you.
I looked closer, and I saw flashes, scenes of me screaming at Mom, hiding my report card, watching videos I wasn't supposed to, all the moments I hated about myself, all in that stone. He looked me in the eyes.
I took this so you wouldn't have to carry it anymore.
I remember falling to the ground again. I couldn't speak. I just kept whispering, "Thank you. Thank you." He kneeled beside me and said,
Then live like someone who has been set free.
After that moment, the light changed. It grew brighter, not blinding, but full. Full of something I still don't have words for. I looked up and I saw children. Other kids younger than me, older. All laughing. All free. Some of them with wings, some holding hands with angels. And every one of them had peace on their faces. I asked, "Who are they?"
Some left Earth too soon, but none left my heart.
I felt a lump in my throat because some of them looked like kids I'd seen on the news, from school shootings, from cancer, from car crashes, and I realized they were okay. They were home. Jesus touched my hand again and said,
Do not fear death. Fear a life without love.
Then he stood, and for a moment, the sky above opened like a scroll. I saw a city not like New York or Chicago, but golden, flowing with music, with colors that don't even exist here. He whispered.
This is what awaits those who walk with me.
I asked, "Do I have to go back?" He smiled, a smile I'll never forget.
There is still someone who needs your story.
Then I felt wind, not cold, but like breath, and I opened my eyes in the hospital, and Mom was holding my hand. She didn't say anything at first, just cried. And I whispered, "I saw him, Mom." She looked confused, And I said, "Dad, I saw him. In Jesus." She held me tighter and whispered, "I believe you." Since that day, I haven't been the same. I'm still a kid. I still get mad. I still forget to say thank you sometimes. But now, I remember what he told me. I remember the stone, the butterflies, the sound of heaven's river. And I live every day trying to love like I've been loved. And whenever I feel afraid, I remember his voice.
You are never alone.
And that changes everything. People think kids don't carry real burdens, that because we laugh and play and go to school, our hearts must be light. But the truth is, we carry more than most adults realize. I'm only 9, but I know what it feels like to hear your mom cry behind the bathroom door, to see bills on the kitchen counter that never go away, to feel like you're the reason she's tired all the time. I've seen my little brother ask where Dad went, and I didn't know how to answer because I didn't know either. And before my accident, I was angry a lot. At myself, at Mom, at God. I'd say I didn't believe anymore. But the truth was, I believed too much. I just didn't understand why life hurt so badly if God was real. That confusion, that quiet sadness, it built up like a wall. I stopped talking to Mom. I started lying. I spent more time on my screen than in real life. I'd laugh with my friends, but cry when no one was around. This isn't just about me. I've seen it in other kids too. Kids at school who look fine but don't smile with their eyes. Who pretend to be tough because they don't know how to ask for help. Kids who come to school hungry and act like they're just not in the mood to eat. We live in a world that keeps telling us to grow up faster, to be strong, to be smart, to impress everyone, to get good grades, to never show weakness. But we're still children, and sometimes we need someone to see us, really see us. That's what happened when I saw Jesus. He didn't ask for a report card. He didn't tell me to stop crying. He didn't tell me to be a man. He saw everything I'd been hiding, and he loved me anyway.
I know the weight you carry, even when you pretend it's not there.
Do you know what that does to a kid? It heals something. Because when the world says you're too emotional, too weak, too dramatic, and God says, I understand, that changes everything. I think a lot of grown-ups forget that kids are watching. We hear the yelling behind closed doors. We see the stress when you think we're not looking. We feel the tension in the room even if no one says a word. Sometimes we blame ourselves even if you don't mean us to. And without knowing it, we start to break from the inside. We push people away, not because we want to, but because we don't know if we can trust love anymore. That's why what I experienced matters. Not just because I saw heaven, but because I saw what love really looks like. Love that doesn't walk away. Love that speaks gently even when you fail. Love that says, I'm not going anywhere. That's the kind of love every kid needs, not just in heaven, but right here. At dinner tables where dads used to sit. In bedrooms where brothers cry quietly. In classrooms where no one notices who's missing today. We don't need perfection. We need presence. We don't need more rules. We need more hugs. We don't need louder noise. We need someone to listen when our voices are shaking. And we need adults to remember that behind every bad kid is a story, a reason, a wound. Maybe that's why Jesus has said we have to become like children. Because kids still feel everything fully. We don't hide our tears behind pride. We don't pretend something didn't hurt when it did. We love without keeping score. We forgive in minutes what grown-ups carry for decades.
Blessed are the broken, for they shall be mended in love.
I believe he showed me that, not just for me, but for every kid who feels invisible, every child stuck between two homes, everyone who hears you're too sensitive too many times, Every kid who's lost someone and had to pretend they were okay because no one knew what to say. And maybe, just maybe, this story can remind some of you that your kids aren't okay just because they're quiet. That he's just going through a phase might be a cry for help. That what you model, they mirror. And when you give them space to cry, to ask, to hope, when you show them that love isn't earned, that it's given, you give them something the world can't take away. I'm not saying I'm perfect now. I still get upset when Isaac takes my stuff. I still complain when I have to clean my room. But I don't carry the same anger anymore, because I met someone who saw the root of it and offered me healing, not shame. And I think we could all learn from that. If you're a parent, talk to your child today. Not about rules, not about chores, but about their heart. Ask them how they're really doing and wait for the answer. And if you're a kid like me, know this. You're not wrong for feeling too much. You're not broken for being scared. And you're never alone.
For every child who feels invisible, I am watching, I am near.
That one sentence changed me forever, and it might be the one some other kid out there is desperate to hear. So I'll keep telling this story until they know they're seen too. When I came back, the first thing I asked my mom was, "Does the Bible say anything about kids going to heaven?" She looked surprised, but she nodded, and later that night she read something that made my whole body tingle. It was from Luke 18:16. Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of God belongs to such as these." I remember whispering, that's what it felt like. Like I didn't need to earn my way in. Like I was wanted there just as I was. It wasn't a place for perfect people. It was a place for honest hearts. That verse hit me different because before my experience, I thought heaven was for saints, for pastors, for old people who never did anything wrong. But in that field, on that path of light, I realized something Jesus had been trying to tell us all along. Heaven isn't earned by how much we do. It's received by how much we trust. And children, we still trust easily. That's why Jesus said, "The kingdom belongs to us."
Unless you become like one of these, you cannot see what I have prepared.
Later I learned about Joel 2:28. It says, "In the last days I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams. Your young men will see visions." That verse made everything make sense because what I saw wasn't just a dream. It was a vision. It was a glimpse into a place so full of light and truth that it made everything on earth feel like a shadow. God wasn't just speaking to adults. He was speaking to kids like me. And maybe, just maybe, He's been doing it for a long time, but we haven't been listening. I also remember what Jesus said in Matthew 5:8. "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." That verse still gives me chills because it wasn't my mind that saw Him. It wasn't my knowledge or how many Bible stories I'd memorized. It was my heart, a messy, guilty, hurting heart, but still open, still hoping. And He showed up.
I never hide from the hungry. I am found by those who look with love.
Even Revelation started to make sense. In chapter 2, verse 17, it talks about a new name to the one who is victorious. "I will give that person a white stone with a new name written on it, known only to the one who receives it." When Jesus called me Eli, I didn't understand why, but now I do. That was my heavenly name, the name He gave me before I was born. The one that matched who I really am, not just who the world sees. Eli means ascended or uplifted, and that's exactly what I felt, lifted, above my pain, above my shame, into something better, into purpose. I learned that heaven has roots in Scripture deeper than I ever realized. That the rivers I saw, the golden city, the butterflies, the light. It's all described in pieces throughout the Bible. Revelation 21 talks about the New Jerusalem shining like a precious jewel with streets of gold and walls of jasper. Revelation 22 speaks of the river of life, clear as crystal, flowing from the throne of God. Isaiah 11 paints a picture of peace so deep that even the lion and the lamb rest side by side, and every piece of what I saw matched that peace. It wasn't fantasy, it was fulfillment.
My word does not return void. What I promised I have prepared.
And the most powerful verse Mom read to me that week was from John 14:2. Jesus said, "In my Father's house are many rooms. I go there to prepare a place for you." I believe He showed me mine. I don't know if I'll ever be able to describe it fully, but I know it's real. I know the Bible isn't just stories. It's truth wrapped in grace. It's love in letters. And for the first time, I don't just believe it because someone told me to. I believe it because I've seen where it leads, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to live like someone who's been there. That's what Scripture has become to me now. Not rules, not fear, not pressure, but a map, a promise, a home, waiting with the door wide open. After I shared my story with my mom, she told me something I'll never forget. She said, "Ethan, you're not the only one." At first I didn't understand, but then she opened her laptop and showed me videos, stories, testimonies. And as I watched, I saw faces like mine, young, tearful, shaken, but peaceful. Children from different states, different countries, different lives, but all saying the same thing. They saw Him too. One boy, around 12 years old, had drowned in a pool and was declared clinically dead for over 10 minutes. When they brought him back, he looked his mom in the eyes and said, "Jesus told me to tell you, He's proud of how you kept praying when nobody believed." Another girl, just 8, survived a car crash and was in a coma for 2 days. When she woke up, the first thing she said was, "Why did the man with the fire eyes stop holding my hand?" Her mom cried and asked what she meant. She said, "He said His name was Jesus, and He told me my baby sister is with Him now, and she has hair like gold and sings louder than the angels." They hadn't even told her her sister had passed yet. It wasn't just 1 or 2 stories. There were dozens, hundreds. Some had never gone to church before. Some came from homes where faith wasn't talked about. And yet, they all described the same things. A light that felt like love. A place where pain couldn't follow. A man who knew everything and still smiled with kindness.
I speak to all who will listen, and I come to those who hunger for truth.
I saw a boy who described the exact same tree. I saw silver leaves, golden roots. He said he sat under it with his grandfather who had passed away. He said, "Grandpa told me this is where he waits to pray for our family, and that Jesus lets him sit here because he still has a job to do." That gave me chills, because I had sat under that tree with my dad. The leaves shimmered when we talked like they were listening too. Another testimony came from a teenager in Texas, Zachary. He was legally dead for 20 minutes after a heart attack. When he came back, he told his parents there were angels standing in rows, and Jesus walked between them. He looked strong and kind, and his voice sounded like music you never forget. I remember whispering, "That's exactly what I heard too." Different voices, different lives, same encounter. How can that be coincidence? How can kids from across the world with no connection to each other describe the same eyes, the same peace, the same embrace?
My kingdom is not hidden from the little ones. They carry what others have forgotten.
It made me realize something. Maybe heaven is reaching out more than we think. Maybe it's not just happening in churches, but in bedrooms, in ambulances, in quiet hospital rooms at 3 a.m. when no one's watching. Maybe Jesus is showing up to the ones who still know how to listen. Because children, we still listen with our hearts. We don't always need explanations. We just know when something is real. And every story I saw, every child who came back confirmed what I had seen. The colors, the light, the love that can't be faked. Some people might call it imagination. Some might say it's medical neurological, the brain reacting under stress. But how do you explain the names, the details? How do you explain a 7-year-old describing Revelation, imagery, without ever reading the Bible? How do you explain a child hearing her mom's secret prayer and repeating it word for word after being unconscious for hours? You can't, because it's not made up, it's poured out. Like Joel 2:28 said, His Spirit is being poured out on sons and daughters, and if we stop long enough to listen, we'll hear what they're trying to say.
I have always used the humble to reveal the holy, and through the mouths of children I am still speaking.
These stories aren't fantasy. They are footprints, signs that we're not alone, proof that what the Bible says is still alive. And if we ignore them, we risk missing the very heart of God reaching out. I believe our generation is seeing something rare, a glimpse, a calling, and not just for comfort, but for purpose. So the question becomes, will we keep doubting, or will we start believing the voices that still tremble with truth? Because I know what I saw, and now I know I'm not the only one. After everything I saw, everything I heard, I came back different, not just emotionally, but spiritually. Because once you've looked into the eyes of Jesus, once you've stood in a place where fear doesn't exist, you can't go back to pretending life is just random. You start asking different questions. Why am I here? What is my life actually for? What does God want from me? A kid who still forgets to brush his teeth and argues with his brother. And the answer didn't come all at once, but it started to rise in my heart like a sunrise.
I want you to love. That is your first mission.
I used to think faith was something for adults, something you did on Sundays, in stiff clothes while someone read big words from a big book. But now I know. Faith is as real as the air in my lungs. It's in the way I treat my brother when he's scared. It's in the way I talk to my mom when she's tired. It's in the way I speak to myself when I mess up. Because faith isn't just about praying before bed or going to church. It's about knowing that you are loved beyond condition, and because of that, you love others the same. That changes everything. It means I can forgive faster. Because I've been forgiven, it means I can walk into school with peace. Because I've seen the Prince of Peace. It means I can tell the truth even when I'm scared because I've seen where truth leads.
Do not hide your light. Ethan, even small flames push back the darkness.
I used to be ashamed of being too emotional. Now I know that tears are sacred. I used to think I had to be tough to be respected. Now I know gentleness is strength. I used to believe God was far away only for the holy. Now I know He is close, especially to the broken. If you're reading this or hearing this and you've ever felt like you don't belong in faith, like you're too messed up, too angry, too distant, let me say this clearly. You are exactly the one He's looking for. He's not waiting for you to get it together. He's waiting for you to be honest. Because the only thing keeping us from Him is the lie that we have to earn His love.
My love is not a reward, it is a rescue.
That one sentence wrecked me, because I thought I had to be better to be loved. But He loved me when I was at my worst. So I decided that even as a kid, I would live like someone who had been rescued. That doesn't mean I'm perfect now, but it means I stop running. It means when I mess up, I run toward Him, not away. It means when I see someone hurting, I don't look away. It means when I feel empty, I don't try to fill it with things that fade. I go to the one who gave me new breath and I ask him, "What now?" And I hear him whisper every time,
Love them like I loved you.
So I try. I pray for my nurses. I help Isaac tie his shoes. I tell my mom I'm proud of her. I even started writing letters to kids at school who feel alone. Because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to sit in a dark place and wonder if anyone sees you. And now I know the truth. He does. He always has. And if you open your heart like a child, like I did, you'll see him too. Maybe not with your eyes, but with something deeper. With the part of you that remembers how to hope. That part is still alive, even if it's been quiet.
I stand at the door and knock, not just once, but always.
So let this be your reminder. You don't have to die to wake up. You just have to listen. Because heaven isn't just a place we go after this life. It's a reality we live from when love becomes our reason. When Jesus becomes more than a name. When you realize he's been speaking all along, just waiting for you to hear him. And when you do, you'll never see the world the same again. When I finally came home from the hospital, everything looked the same, but I wasn't. The couch was still in the same spot. My skateboard was still cracked in the garage. Isaac still ran around in circles yelling about dinosaurs. But inside me, something had shifted forever. That night, I sat on my bed holding the blanket Dad gave me before he passed, and I whispered the words I had been too scared to say before God. I'm still here, but I don't know how to live with what I saw. And the answer came so gently, not as a voice outside, but something blooming in my chest.
You don't have to know everything. Just love me and follow.
So I began, day by day, moment by moment, saying sorry quicker, hugging longer, praying even when no one told me to. And one day, something happened that proved to me how real it all was. I was at school, and one of the kids who always acted mean, Tyler, pushed me in the hallway. The old me would have pushed back, maybe shouted, maybe cried, but something inside me paused, like a warm hand over my shoulder. And I looked at him and said, "You don't have to be mean, Tyler. You're not alone." He stared at me like I'd just spoken a different language and walked away. But later that day, he came and sat next to me at lunch. He didn't say much, just sat there, quiet. And that's when I knew this story, what I experienced, it wasn't just for me. It was for others, for kids like Tyler, who act like they don't care because they don't know how to say they're scared. For moms like mine, holding everything together while they fall apart inside. For little brothers like Isaac, who just need someone to remind them that the world is still beautiful. And for you, whoever you are, reading this, listening to this, I need you to know what Jesus said to me when I was the most afraid.
I have never missed a single tear.
He saw the nights I cried under my blanket. He saw the guilt I couldn't explain. He saw the anger I didn't want to feel. And he loved me through all of it. So if you think no one sees you, I promise you this. He does. If you feel like you've gone too far, done too much, been too silent, too long,
You are still mine.
that's what he said to me. And it's what I'm saying to you now. I may be just a kid, but I've seen heaven. I've held my dad's hand again. I've felt what love with no conditions actually feels like. And I'll never stop telling this story, because I believe with everything in me that someone out there needs to hear this right now. Maybe you lost someone and don't know how to breathe without them. Maybe you've been pretending you're okay when you're breaking inside. Maybe you've been angry at God and ashamed of it. I was too, but he met me anyway. He didn't ask me to fix myself first. He just came close.
I don't wait for the perfect, I run to the honest.
So if there's one thing I hope you remember from all this, it's that Jesus isn't waiting at the end of your life. He's walking beside you now, even in your pain, even in your questions, even when all you can whisper is, "Help me." He hears that, I know, because he heard me. And he will never ever stop loving you. Not for 1 second, not even now. If this story touched something deep in you, don't let it fade when the video ends. If you've ever wondered whether God sees you, whether love, this real, could find someone like you now, you know the answer. It can. It already has. And maybe this isn't just a story for you to hear. Maybe it's a story for you to carry, to share, to live out loud. So if you're still here, subscribe to this channel right now. Leave a comment and tell us, what would you say to Jesus if you saw him today? And share this video with someone who needs hope tonight. Someone who's been quiet for too long. Someone who needs to remember that they are not forgotten. Because stories like this aren't meant to be hidden. They're meant to wake hearts up.
Let's wake the world together.